I can generally say here, I think I'm one of the luckiest players ever.
Up towards Solskjaer. Cole! Oh! Simply sensational.
Can I introduce myself? Andrew Cole.
You're the 5th highest goal scorer in the Premier League history. Do you feel like you get enough credit that you deserve?
5th highest goal scorer. Do I? You know, I'll be honest. If I say I don't, people will say, "Oh, he's arrogant." If I say I get enough credit, people will turn around and say, "No, he doesn't get enough credit." So I just sit on the fence now. I'm at that stage in my life, like, not bothered, because I know what I've achieved, so it doesn't really bother me anymore.
So who were some influential figures in your childhood that shaped you as a player, but also as a person?
Influential people in my life would have been my granddad, my brother. Like I said, my dad didn't really know anything about football, so that was a funny one, because my dad always wanted me to play cricket.
Yeah.
And we used to have the combo, like, my dad used to say, "Oh, nah, you can't play football, you got to play cricket." You know, obviously where we're coming from, the Caribbean, it's easier to play cricket, and I'm like, "Nah, Dad, I think I can play football." I remember he always used to say to me, "You're gonna have to be 3-4 times better than your counterpart." I was like, "Nah, I've got this." And I realised later on when I was playing football, just how tough it was and what he was saying. So in the end, I'd have to say him as well, because what he was telling me when I was younger, I started to experience it when I was getting a little bit older.
So then being signed for United, so massive achievement, one of the biggest clubs ever. What was your reaction when you found out you'd been signed?
For me, because it was just totally out of the blue and so random, I didn't believe it when I first found out it was going to happen. And then it happened, and I was more than happy with that, because that was the only club, I mentioned it many times when I was playing as well, that was the only club I'd have left Newcastle for. You know, it was a club that I've always wanted to play for, Manchester United, and to come here and to play for such an unbelievable football club was very special. And
did you feel the weight of having to play as the most expensive British player at the time, or did you not let that get to you? Did you not think about all of that?
Well, you know, when I first came here, I didn't. I didn't get it, because for me, I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to continue playing the way I played." And I came, and it was a difficult start. And then that's the only time I started thinking about it, because people were like, "No, X, Y, Z." And I've never been in that position. People fail to understand I'd only been in the Premier League a year and a half. You know, and the way I started in the Premier League, people thought I'd been playing in the Premier League for some time. And like I said, you know, negativity gets into your head a little bit, and then you start questioning yourself. And it wasn't easy, but I got my head around it in the end, which was the most important thing for me.
So when you were playing at United, obviously you were with Alex Ferguson whilst he was here. What was your relationship like with Alex Ferguson? You
know, it was cool. Yeah, every now and then he used to scream and shout at me. Every now and then he used to pull me in the office. But in general, I thought I had a very good relationship with him. I've said many times, I think for me personally, he was the only manager that understood me for what I am. As I get older, I really start to realise people have a problem with people that are quiet. And I find it so weird. You know, people want to get in someone's head because they're quiet. And I have a laugh about that, because I say to people, "I can't get in my own head, so you got no chance." But they keep prodding and whatever, and they say, "Oh, Andy Cole's this, he's that." But not knowing an individual being judged on because you're quiet, and you look at things and you break things down the way you want to. I just realised, yeah, it's a problem to a lot of people, but the manager was always good with me.
And Alex Ferguson's known for his famous hairdryer treatment. Were you ever on the wrong side of that?
Yeah, I got it a few times. But all it was for me was a G-up. That's all it was. You know, I think it reminded me a lot when I was younger. My dad used to tell me off. You know, it was a G-up to say, "Look, you know you can do better." And as a kid, you're like, "Oh yeah, but I just got told off," and X, Y, Z. And it's just like football. When the manager used to lose the plot, it's like just geeing you up to say, "Hey, you got more in you."
Yeah. So Dwight Yorke signed for the club in 1998. This is a very kind of iconic partnership with you two. What made it so successful?
We're just polar opposites.
Really? Yeah.
We are polar opposites, yeah. I think that's why it worked, because with that, but we got on really, really well. I mean, what he is, I'm 100% not. And that's why it was so good. You know, Yorke taught me a hell of a lot, to be fair. Taught me a lot. That life should be lived that way. Like I said, go back to my illness, I realised, oh bloody hell, there's no dress rehearsals for this.
And do you still speak to him now?
Yes.
Yeah. And can you describe the atmosphere in the dressing room? So when Dwight was there as well and everyone's kind of getting ready for the game, was it a tense atmosphere, or were you all just ready to go?
No. When Yorke came, no.
Was it the opposite?
Total opposite. Some of the nonsense he used to do before, you'd never think he's actually going to play football. He used to have everyone absolutely buzzing. You know, keepy up is in a bin. I mean, keepy up is on a little towel, and just his energy when he came to Manchester, his energy in the dressing room was like, who is this guy? Because we usually go in there mentally, everyone's focused straight away, and you know, atmosphere you could cut with a knife. And then Yorke came in with that big beaming smile and always messing about in the dressing room and that, and it changed a bit. But we all knew once we crossed the white line.
Is there anyone else who's had that impact as well, who kind of, they walk into a room and you're like, okay, this is going to be good now? Any other players?
No, Yorke, he was just so different. He was so different. You know, some of his antics, the boys will still laugh about now. You know, because he was that kind of character. You know, that brought a lot of joy to the dressing room. Like I say, it was just that big beaming smile and the nonsense he used to do. You know, everyone used to be talking about, oh, Yorke X, Y, Z or whatever it may be, knowing that we're going to play a game, but be laughing at what he did the week before, whatever. But yeah, it's good.
So you were in the 1999 Champions League final. Any memories from that time? Any that stand out?
Stand out, yeah, those 10 days. Those 10 days, best 10 days of my footballing career. And if you could do it again, we'd do it again. Me personally, I'd love to be able to do it again. Reincarnated and do those 10 days again, yeah, definitely.
How did you celebrate?
Which one?
Well, when you were in Barcelona, for example, did you go out in Barcelona? Did you wait till you got home?
To be fair, we was allowed to do what we wanted to do. There was a function at the hotel and then we did that, and then if you want to go out, you could go out, but we were leaving, I don't know, for instance, 8 o'clock in the morning. You have to be on the coach because we're flying back to Manchester. The manager basically says, so long you're on the coach for 8 o'clock, do as you wish. So yeah, it was, great 10 days. Like I said, best 10 days of my footballing career. It was just special.
And did you realise at the time how iconic that treble achievement would be? Did you think we're making history here? Or?
No, we didn't, to be fair, because we was always of the ilk of win, move on. Win, move on, but that was the manager's mentality as well. You know, you win, park it, move on to the next one. So I think when we won it, it was like, okay, forget about it, move on. And if you speak to any of the boys now, the first thing they would turn around and say, I wish to have celebrated more. But our thought process was, we can do that next season as well. So we ain't got no time to celebrate. And now being retired and, you know, looking back on your time in tour and say to yourself, I wish we'd have celebrated more. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it sounds like you were kind of looking to the future more than being in the present and kind of taking it all in.
That's what it was at that football club. At this football club, it was like, no time for that nonsense. Now you've won it, move on.
Yeah.
That's why we were so successful.
How did it feel playing for a different team after playing at United for so long?
It was tough. It was very tough. But I'm a man of great pride, and that's why I've been brought up. My dad, my granddad always used to say to me, if anything, you've always got to put a shift in. You can't rely on nobody else. As they used to say to me, earn your own money. Yeah. And I remember being at Manchester United and sitting on the bench, and in the back of my head I've got my dad saying it, I've got my granddad saying to me, come on, you got to earn your own money here. And I'm watching, I'm like, I've got to earn my own keep. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So the pride thing kicks in. I remember speaking to the manager kept saying to me, Colin, no, you're not going anywhere, you can stay as long as you want. I'm like, boss, that's not me. That's not me. I've been brought up different to go out there and work hard for whatever it is, and then I moved on. It was tough. It was very tough. But good. I think I grew again as an individual. I grew again as a man. I can generally say here, I think I'm one of the luckiest players ever. I've always had a great rapport with the Manchester United fans. And I believe it still continues now. So I'm one of the lucky ones. You know, they still sing my song, and people have mentioned to me many times, there's not many players who have a song sung about them. And you're fortunate you're one of them, so yeah, very, very proud of that.
And you mentioned the kind of tabloids back in the 90s. Do you think it's got better, like the media world, or do you think kind of the tabloids and the papers are still really kind of intense?
I was having this discussion the other day, to be fair. Me, personally, I've never been a fan of them because you can't be an expert in every sport. And when they say, I don't know, whatever they call themselves, sports editor or #1 sport, whatever. And I turn around and say to myself, well, you comment on tennis, golf, for instance, snooker, football and cricket. But the way you perceive it, you are the best at all these sports. Now, we can't be good at all these sports. So when obviously you're short-handed back then, when you're writing down and you're giving marks against people, what are you judging them on? How do you see the game to the way a professional footballer sees the game? It's totally different to how I see it. But if I'm going to speak to Joe Public, I want Joe Public to be reading my article in the paper and saying, oh yeah, he's right. And that's what it was back then. So do I think it's better now? Not really. It's toned down a little bit, but not really.
And what keeps you motivated?
Oh, what keeps me motivated now? I think going through an illness and then knowing where I was, like mentally, physically, when I was on the floor, snake's belly. And I think getting back on my feet, knowing I didn't understand how tough it was going to be, and I don't want to go back there, so that keeps that going.
So what do you think young footballers today could learn from kind of your generation of football? Because obviously it's quite different, isn't it? How they act on the pitch and their mindsets.
Hard work, dedication, be humble.
Humble.
Be humble, man.
And looking back, what is the achievement that you're most proud of? So you've had a massive career, but what's that one thing where you're like, that's it for me?
I think that's a tough one, because when I'm sitting there just reminiscing a little bit, I mean, we all have different journeys to get to where we get to, but I think everything, ups and downs, roller coaster times, playing in the Champions League final, watching that as a kid, the FA Cup final, always wanting to be able to put on a suit, walk out at Wembley, and people might look at that and say, oh, that's nonsense, but when you're a kid, the FA Cup final is like, this is it. Winning my first title as well. So I roll it all into conjunction and say I enjoyed every single minute of it, because those are the things I always wanted to do.
Andy Cole equalises from